Great day, attractive thinker. Welcome back to another episode. We went through another full set of 7 days, and I know you've encountered all kinds of fantastic and amazing things and some breaks. You've had some breaks along the way, a break in a pattern, a break in a thought, a break in a habit. I want to welcome our co-host, Tichet Bradshaw. Welcome, Tichet.
Hi, everybody. What an awesome day to be alive.
Yes, it is a great day to be alive. Attractive thinkers, I trust that you have your attractive thinker notebook handy because we always drop gems along the way and you don't want to miss a single one of them. Today we're going to be talking about beyond the break, living life beyond the break and giving yourself a fighting chance. We're going to talk to you about what life is like beyond the break because there are many breaks that happen in our lives. Some breaks are defining moments. Some breaks are destiny moments. Some breaks break your heart. Some breaks break you forward, break you open. So many different kinds of breaks, and all breaks aren't bad breaks, and we can recover from a break. Wouldn't you say so, Tichet?
And we can. There's so much life beyond the break. The break is necessary, though. There's so much life beyond that point you thought couldn't break you, that point you thought was the end, that point you thought was the permanent destruction of you. No, beyond, when you push past all of that and go beyond that, there's so much more life in that, and that more abundantly that is waiting for you on the other side, which is why we cannot give up in the break, in the process. Allow ourselves to be free and allow ourselves to soar beyond where we felt like we were being stuck. So yes, I totally agree.
That's right. I like that. There is so much life and it more abundantly beyond the break. See, when something breaks, whatever was in that something, it can leak out, it can get exposed. It's now accessible. I want you to think about that. See, we don't think about these things when a break happens, when a person breaks a bone, we don't think about that. Our attention goes immediately straight to the break and how painful it is and what we
Yes.
can no longer do. But we're here today, Tichet and I, to support you in shifting how you see your break so that you can discover the gems that are now accessible to you. If something broke in your life, something broke open, it's now accessible. You now can discover it. It seeped out. You now see what it is. Sometimes you don't see. There's a lot of things in our lives that could hold us back and can launch us forward. But if we don't see them as such, we won't move forward. We won't grasp them. We won't search for them. We won't obtain them. We won't pick them up because we don't see them as valuable. So when we talk about living life beyond the break, we're here to give you the tools that you need to really see your break as something more than just an unfortunate thing that happened in your life. There's so many other facets, so many other angles that you can look at that particular break and really pull something out of it that you can use for the rest of your life and also serve it to others so that they can use it. When people walk up on you and enter into your experience, you want to be able to have something to share, something to offer, something to give, because you're not the first one who encountered a break, experienced a break, and you won't be the last. So
Yes.
it's imperative for us to gather the gems along the way, shift our perception so that we can see the break in a different light and use it, pull something out that we can use to further our journey and continue to live this fantastic and amazing experience called life. So when we talk about beyond the break, who is Dr. Toni Hatton? Who is Tichet Bradshaw? I am a break the cycle specialist. I am a light. I shine the light in dark places in your life so that you can see those cracks and crevices, so you can see those things. I mean, think about it. If you're entering into a dark room or a dark tunnel, you don't even know what's in there. You could bump into something. You can hurt your leg. You could pass out. You could fall into a dark hole and not even know not knowing that that hole was there because it's dark and then the light was out. Well, I am that light. I am shining that light for you today so that you can see the cracks and the crevices in your life. You can see that break as something new, a new experience, a whole new world opening up to you as a result of that break. As a speaker and coach, I share with my clients all of the time, we need to learn how to tell our stories in a different light, in a different way, not this happened to me and that happened to me and this hurt and that hurt. And can you believe it? I can't believe it. I don't even know how I came out and da da da. And I'm, when they tell their stories that way, I'm waiting for the punchline, and there is none because they don't know. Nobody ever taught them how to properly tell their story. What about starting your story off as something like this? As a result of me going through this experience, I am now stronger. As a result of being disappointed, I now have more confidence in my own thoughts and my own decisions. As a result of not getting the outcome that I so desperately needed, or not getting the offer or the contract or the position or the opportunity, as a result of not doing that, I now know that I'm all that I will ever need. I now know that what I've been searching for is already inside of me. That's a different perspective. That's a different way to tell your story, to share your defining moment or your destiny moment, to share what broke your heart. Would you agree to share, or what is your perspective on how we see when we're broken, or how we view something that's broken? Because one of our last episodes, we talked about the benefits of being broken.
Yes, yes, absolutely. When you have the right perception of when you're going through a place of what feels like brokenness or what could be brokenness, because sometimes we are in places where it's not quite brokenness, it's just bruised.
Yeah.
But when you have a place where you feel like you're broken, if you have the right perception concerning that, in other words, Dr. Toni has a message on her website. I think it might be in your store. It's called Being a Victim or Victor. When you have the perception of a victim or a victor, it makes a big difference. When you look at the breaking point through the lens of a victim, you tend to soak and sulk in the pain of it. You tend to sulk in the negative, the downward motion of it. But when you have the perception of a victor, you understand that does not define you. You understand that this is just something I must go through to get where I'm supposed to be. This is something that, this is not a permanent thing. It's just something that I'm temporarily going through, and it will be used to strengthen me. But also, you're excited to see what comes out of this. You know that in the end you win, and that's the key. That if you look at being broken, in the end you win. So when you're going through brokenness, it allows you to get that extra strength. I call it the strength in the corner pocket. You dig in a little corner pocket where you ain't know you had a little extra strength. You dig in that, you pull that out, you allow that to lift you up, and next thing you know, you went from feeling like you were temporarily, or feeling like you were down, feeling like you were out, feeling like you were broken, to all of a sudden now you're up, you're living life, you're starting to do more things. You find yourself now starting to smile, and then when you start to smile, there's something that breaks over that brokenness feeling. There's something that breaks. It's like if the sun came out while in the middle of the storm, you can see now that there's a light that's shining. It gives you a glimmer of hope and the courage to keep going. So you take that and you say, okay, sunny days are way ahead of me. I mean, sunny days are ahead of me. I have so much more days ahead of me. I am not going to give up in the middle of this storm, but the storm exposes. It exposes everything that's in you. It exposes who you are. We've talked weeks for weeks about what that looks like when you're going through stuff, and it exposes all the stuff that's in you that you didn't know. But it's not doing that just so you can play victim. It's serving a purpose. It's doing that for a reason. It's helping to bring out what what you didn't know was there, or what you took for granted. It is beyond the break. If I had to describe beyond the break, I would say amazing. I would look puzzle pieces, because in the break, within the break, you get little pieces, right? And you don't necessarily see the whole picture. So you try to make a decision and try to, try to make out what's going on by that little puzzle piece, not realizing that you're grabbing a whole bunch of different puzzle pieces to put it together for a bigger picture. So it makes it amazing to see it all come together, and to see yourself make it through something you thought was going to kill you.
Yeah, my God.
To make it through it.
Yeah.
You made it through it with tears. You made it to that top of that mountain with them bruises, where every tear that then ran down your face and dried. You made it to the top of that mountain with every scar to show for it. But the fact of the matter is, you made it and you won, and you will win again and again. That's beyond the break, knowing you could win again and again.
Yes, I like that. That's beyond the break 101 right there. We talk about beyond the break. There were so many times in my life, especially some very defining moments that I had in my life, whereas the experience broke me down so much that all I had left was a knowing. That's all I had was a knowing. I knew two things. I knew that God was on my side, and I knew who I was. That's all I knew.
Yes.
Keep on living. Life has a tendency, when you want the essence of life, when you want to know the truth and you want a meaningful, purposeful life, life will show you, it will offer you that opportunity to get the clarity on the deeper things of life. And those experiences that I had, they broke me down to the real essence of the things that mattered the most. God, I knew that God was on my side, and I knew who I was. And those were the only two things that I had the mental capacity to hold on to at that time. And it was enough. It was enough. A lot of times, attractive thinker, you might think you don't have what it takes, or you don't have enough, or you don't have this, or you don't have that, or if I had this, then I could do that, or if I had that, then I could move forward over here. And you feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because one thing is blocking you from the other thing, which is blocking you from the other thing. And none of that really matters. None of it really matters. The only thing that really matters is you, attractive thinker. The only thing that really matters is you, and being connected to something bigger than yourself. That's it. That's all you really need to get through a break. I've experienced a break in my life, whereas I had to reduce my life down to the moment. There was no more anticipating or projecting or planning ahead of the moment that I was currently in. Because when a real break happens in your life, it stops everything. It changes everything. The things that used to be important are no longer important. The things that used to be on the back burner, now they're in the forefront of your life, because something broke. And when something breaks in your life, it's not just breaking in your life, it's breaking you open, it's breaking you into something better. See, just like an egg cracks. I heard somebody say something just recently, and it was incredible. They said, if an egg breaks from the outside, it dies, but if it breaks from the inside, it lives.
Wow.
You might want to write that down in your attractive thinker notebook. If an egg breaks from the outside, it dies. But if it breaks from the inside, it lives. And that's what's happening in our lives. This is how we view breaks in our life, attractive thinker. Like Tichet said, we see life through the lens of a victor, not a victim. And that makes a big difference. How you see a thing determines everything. So when you experience a break, I want you to understand that you are breaking into a greater version of yourself. Because as an attractive thinker, when things break in our life, we start looking for gems. We start questioning and saying, okay, we start seeking and searching and saying, okay, where are the gems? Because I know they're there. You've experienced life long enough to know how this game is played. You automatically know how things are going to turn out. You automatically know when you get depressed and sad, you're going to get back up. You already know. You've been down long enough to know that you're going to get back up again. You automatically know when something breaks your heart, you're going to smile again. It might take some time, but you will smile again. You didn't lose your smile. You may not feel like smiling. You may not have the emotions. It may take you a lot of energy and effort just to get out of the bed, but you automatically know how this game is being played. You're going to get up again. You're going to smile again. You're going to get hope again. You're going after your dreams again. You're going after that thing that you desire again. You're going to live full out again. You want to have a meaningful, fulfilling life. Your dreams and goals haven't changed. You're still going to be you, because see, there are some things in life, even through a break, some things in life that will not change. And that's who you are. Back to you, Tichet.
That is, I mean, that is so the truth. I like that analogy that you told with the egg.
Yeah.
You know, that if it breaks on the outside, it dies. But if it breaks on the inside, it dies. But if it breaks on the outside, it lives. Did I get that backwards?
Yes, that's backwards.
Okay,
Say it again.
if it breaks on the inside, it lives.
Yes.
If it breaks on the outside, it
Yes.
dies. See, I have to get clarity. I will
Yes.
ask her over and over again to make sure I got it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
that is so truthful,
Yes.
because I feel like if you lost yourself, you lost everything.
Yes.
You know, things could fall all around you, but as long as you can hold on to who you are,
My God.
you know, you still have a fighting chance. To see,
Mm.
this is what also Beyond the Break, Give Yourself a Fighting Chance is about, because we're showing you that, number one, you should give yourself a fighting chance, how to give yourself a fighting chance, and knowing that you are worthy to give yourself a fighting chance. Because when you do that, you can win when you decide to fight.
Yeah.
You can win. You know that we are all champions. We, over the last few episodes, we've talked about champions, we've talked about victors, we talked about the mindset, having the strength to keep moving forward despite everything that's going on, and you know how to pull strength from one side to help you move over to, you know, on the other side of that mountain. We talked about the language, and you know, we talked about so many things, because we gave out so many different tools that you could pick from, whichever one, you know, works for you, or depending on where you are in your walk of life, you could pick from any of them and try to use them. Like how if you want to go gardening, you know, you would pick a certain tool to go and dig up certain things, and you could use them to help you to bear, so that you can reap a harvest. But first you got to understand that you are the seed. You know, you are the seed, and what's in the seed has already been established before we even lay eyes on the seed. So when you look at a seed and you say, okay, this seed is a rose, right? When you, okay, let me back it up a little bit. I am Tichet Bradshaw, the visual encourager. I uplift, I encourage. That's what I do. I support. I will cheerlead you on. I will push you forward. I will help you to know somebody is on your side. I will help you to see that you can make it, right? I have my website, Visual Encouragement. On it, I'm giving all kinds of analogy, metaphorical expression, where I'm taking different stories, such as what I'm about to share with you right now, like how Toni just did the egg, how last week we did, you know, different stories about swimming and stuff like that, and how it relates to life, so that number one, you can understand where you are in life, so that once you understand where you are, you can know where you're going. I feel like you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you are, and you don't know where you are if you don't know where you've been. So this is come full circle, so that you can move forward, heal. But the reason why I share that is because on my website, I have a poem called The Flower Speaks. And what it talks about is how the seed, how it start from a seed and end up to a flower. Now, that rose have been that rose have been established in that seed way before it got planted. Like you, who you are was already you the seed, before you were in your mother's womb, before you got planted. You were already established as a rose, as something beautiful and amazing and powerful, as something worth talking about, something valuable, something that stands out among the rest, something that just sprouts and just, you know, it is. You are. You know, Dr. Toni said that last week. She said, you are, you know, and once you start planting, when you are seed and you understand your roles, you know that there's a process you got to go through. Now, that process might not always be pretty, but you can't get caught up in the look of a thing.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Toni always say, she teaches you how to see beyond what you're looking at and
Yeah.
having the courage to focus on it till it manifests. That statement right there, iconic, iconic. So when you are a rose and you are and you are in the form of a seed right now, you're still a rose, you're just in the form of a seed, right? You still have all the benefits, all the things that requires a rose to be a rose, right? You have so much intention. You go into this ground, now it's dark. Okay, it's not the prettiest sight. Who wants to be in the ground that's filled with manure?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's fertilizer. So all of the crap that's going on in your life, fertilizer. It's there for a purpose. It serves a purpose. It is there for a reason to help you grow. And then you start going through all this stuff. Your shell, now you're not looking the same because your shell and cracked and it exposed something in you that you didn't know was there. And now you're growing out and then you go through a series where it looked like you're growing down. And you like, wait a minute now, I'm supposed to go up. I'm a rose. I'm supposed to go up. What happened? You start questioning your existence. You're still a rose, but you had to get rooted first. You had to get grounded first. You had to, sometimes it might take some humility, you know, and I talk a lot about that. And then you'll start growing up. Then you'll start budding. Then you'll start, and then you look at, I keep crying and I have all these tears, and you might think that's a sign of weakness. That's not a sign of weakness. Tears is not a sign of weakness. You have to release them tears sometimes. Yeah. You have to release them. But here's the thing. Every tear you cry has watered you, watered your seed. It was purposeful. It was needed and necessary for your nourishment and for your growth. Those are the raindrops that come through in the midst of the darkness and help you grow. Then you get these rays of sun that penetrate what I thought was problems, but God saw it as opportunities. When you understand who you are, you're not going to look at things as problems. You're going to look at them as opportunity. And when you see them as opportunity, you have to take advantage of that and push beyond that dirt so that you can bud, not just bud. We're not going through life, again, I say this all the time. We're not going through life just trying to survive. We're not going through life just budding. I intend to sprout. Yeah. You have to be intentional, you know, and then when your season comes, where you start to bud, and now you're starting to see that light at the end of the tunnel. You're starting to see your petals open. You're starting to see your true colors. You're starting to see how amazing it is. Now it's starting to look like what you thought you were. But see, through the entire process, you never let go of who you are. And that's valuable. That is that rose. Even if you are a rose in the middle of a city that don't have no grass, you make sure you grow out through that concrete. Grow out through that concrete. Yeah. Everything you need is already in you. Nothing is going to take away from you. It's already in you. You got to be determined to grow regardless. But guess what? If you are a rose that grow out through that concrete, somebody is going to see that value, and then you got to be uprooted and planted in your rightful place. Yeah. You got to be planted in your rightful place so that you can continue to grow and continue to sprout. You're not going to stay. It's going to be hard to stay there. Somebody, you know, you're going to have to be uprooted. Sometimes God is uprooting you from something. So that thing that you think is breaking you, it could be you being uprooted. It could be watering your seed. It could be the race that's coming through. Are you looking at problems or are you looking at opportunities? See, all those things I put together as visual encouragement. I use visualizations to help you understand where you are in life so that you can make it forward, that you know not to give up in that process, but you know there's so much more ahead of you. And that's why we're here, because you don't have to die in the brokenness. There's so much more life. There's so much offered to you. So much benefits of being broken. Go to our last episode of the benefits of being broken. Yes. Powerful jewels there. There's so much beyond the break, Dr. Toni.
Yes, that is incredible. I love your expression about the rose. While you were talking, I was thinking about Attractive Thinkers. You definitely want to listen to this song by Aretha Franklin, "A Rose is Still a Rose." And in the beginning of that song, she's talking, and there's a young woman who's talking. She's talking to this young woman, and it appears that she's broken, has been brokenhearted. And Aretha was telling the baby girl, A rose is still a rose. Baby girl, you're still a flower. You've got to listen to that song. It is beautiful. And I'm telling you, when you listen to it, you're not just going to want to listen to it once. You're going to want to listen to it over and over and over. It is like one of my favorites to listen to when she's breaking down, a woman, what she goes through, and how even though life has a tendency to break her, you're still who you are. A rose is still a rose. Baby girl, you're still a flower. And this is what we're sharing with you today, attractive thinker, showing you how to maneuver through life after a break. How do you do that? You start by number one. I said I had my life. It broke me down to a knowing. I knew that God was real, and I knew who I was. So that's all I had. And it comes to find out that was enough to get me through what I was going through. And sometimes you have to reduce your life to the moment. Sometimes you have to just focus on the next step, get clarity on your next step, and then let that be it. And then when more clarity comes, take another step. Sometimes you don't see the full staircase, or sometimes you can't anticipate, because we're talking about a break here. We're not talking about when life punches you. We're not talking about when life, pushes you over. We're talking about when life breaks you.
Yes.
You can lose a lot of things in life, but when you've lost yourself, you've lost everything. When life breaks you, you have to know who you are before the break. Because if you don't, you are lost. After the break, it changes your identity. You can't define yourself, identify yourself. You can't really see you for who you are. And when you've lost your identity and your essence and who you are, you're like floating in the wind. You're like all over the place. You can't find your footing. You can't find meaning in anything. Nothing makes sense. Now life doesn't have a meaning. Now you're losing your fight. You're losing your essence to go after the things that you wanted for your life. It no longer has a meaning. It changes things. But when you know who you are, sometimes just waking up in the morning is enough. Sometimes just sitting on the side of the bed is enough after a break. Sometimes just sitting up in the bed, even though you didn't come out from under the covers yet. Sometimes just sitting up in the bed is enough. Sometimes just, turning over on the pillow. You may not even be able to sit up, but just turning over on the pillow and looking up is enough. When it comes down to a break, I understand how life, things and circumstances and people can come into your experience and really break you down. But I want you to understand, attractive thinker, there is a bright side of this break. There's another side of the break. Don't just focus on what broke, what you lost, what leaked out, what fell out, what rolled away, what walked away. Don't just focus on that, because there's another side of the break. What did you gain? What can you use? You might say, well, Dr. Toni, nothing good. I can't find nothing good that came from this break. But if you can't find it as good, what can you use? Can you use it? I'm sure there's something that you can pull from it that you can use to enhance your life or the lives of others. Something that you can use. Right now, we're in a quarantine. We're in a global pandemic. And, in the beginning of it, you may have felt like, you were alone, or the world is coming to an end, or things are getting worse. I don't even let people put that in my spirit. Oh, it's getting worse, and it's going to get more worse than this before it's over. According to who? According to who? Because the bottom line is, don't focus on what you can't control. Focus on what you can control, because as attractive thinkers, we're in the business of creating our world in the midst of this great big world. So many changes that need to be made. We're not even in a position to make those kinds of changes. Yes, our heart goes out and we want to do this, we want to fix this and fix that. But when you consume yourself with things that are out of your control, you're breaking your own self. You're experiencing a break that was not inflicted upon you, but you brought it upon yourself, because you got involved in something that you had no control over, something that didn't even concern you, something you're consuming yourself with that you don't necessarily have to. Somebody came to me the other day, just recently, and said, I have no motivation, or I'm not inspired. And this and that and the other. And I said, the bottom line is, if you take your focus off of what you can't control, because most of the time when you don't have motivation, you're not inspired, you're all tied up into things that you can do nothing about. You have consumed your time, your energy, your heart, your ideas, your creativity, your hands. You have put your hands to something that you can do nothing about. Do you know how exhausting that can become? Do you know how draining that is? That can depress anybody. All of your good intentions going down the drain. All of your good intentions, your energy, your motivation, your inspiration, your creativity. You're good at what you do, but when you use it in the wrong direction, it is drained. It's pulling the energy right out of your heart. And it's changing you, because you can't keep pouring your energy into a direction and not get a result, and it not change you, it not weaken your strength or lower your self-esteem or lower your expectation. So when we're talking about a break, and you're talking about being consumed by it, and you can hardly get up, and you don't have the motivation for life anymore, my question to you is, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on what you lost, or the potential of what you can gain?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you shift, see, when you change your focus, you change everything. You change your life one focus at a time. Write that down in your attractive thinker notebook. You change your life one focus at a time. If you're focusing on in this area of your life, whatever you give your focus to is what you're giving your life to, and you're giving it life, because nothing can live without your focus. Attractive thinkers, I hope you're hearing me. I hope you're hearing me. There is power in your focus. There is life in your focus. What you focus on comes to life. So if you're focusing on what you lost in the break, you're giving it life. And the things that are supposed to be growing as a result of the break, they're dying. They're starving for your focus. They're like, I'm over here. Yes, you experienced the break, but in the break, I broke out. So you're supposed to give me your focus so I can live. You're supposed to focus on me. So you got to shift your focus in a break. And this is a journey. This is a process. It takes time. When life broke my heart, it took me time to recover. But here's the beautiful part about that. When we fall as attractive thinkers, we don't fall like average, ordinary people. We fall, but we don't destroy ourselves. It doesn't utterly destroy us. When we fall with such grace that we have everything we need to get back up. It's just a matter of time. We don't fall and break everything about us.
Mm-hmm.
We don't fall and break all of our bones. We don't fall and break all of our creativity and energy and ideas and motivation and inspiration and outlook and meaning and purpose and fulfillment. We don't break everything about us. We don't fall and break that one thing that makes us who we are. Yes, when we fall, some things do break. But as an attractive thinker, the most important things that make us who we are and that will support us in surviving and thriving in this life, we don't break that at all. That foundation stays laid.
Mm.
That foundation stays strong, because that foundation is what we build everything about our lives off of. That foundation cannot be destroyed. That's why it's imperative that we know who we are before life comes knocking on our door. When life knocks on your door, you don't have time to start running around trying to figure out who you are and if you can handle this or not. So living life beyond the break in a victorious way requires you to first make a decision that that's how you're going to live your life. Make a decision that whatever you experience in life is happening for you and not to you. Oh, this happened to me and that happened to me. See, as an attractive thinker, I share with my clients how to retell your story. It didn't happen to you, it happened for you. So now you're retelling your story. Oh, this happened for me and that happened for me. I asked for this and I wanted to do that, and that happened for me and that happened for me. Yes, it happened for you. Even the things that most people view as unfortunate, we have a different perception. Attractive thinking, we don't see it like that. And it's to the point whereas, because I'm a vision expert, and all down throughout my life and down through the years, people would see me as that, and they would see what I was going through, and it was like, don't you see that? Or didn't you hear what they said? Or did you not see what just happened? And I say, yes, I did, but I didn't see it like you did. I saw exactly what happened. but I didn't see it like you did. I was determined to see it in such a way that brought benefit to me and not my demise. Why would I do that to myself? It's one thing for life to knock you off your feet. It's another thing for your heart to break, but it's the ultimate thing for you to break yourself.
Mm.
Why would I break myself? Because that's the ultimate. When I break myself, I have nothing left. I can't be another self or somebody else. I am enough. I am enough. I am the good thing. I am the great thing. When everything else is gone, what's left is me. I am. That's what's left. I am. So you don't break yourself. You while you're down, if you're like me, you're trying to figure out and strategize how you're going to get up. Because the whole time you're down, you're thinking, I got too much to do. I've got too much to do to stay here. Sometimes when life broke me down and broke my heart, and I found myself in a place where I couldn't. Sometimes you find yourself lost, like Dorothy in the Wiz, like you're in a strange land. You don't even know where you are or who these people are. What are these new faces and experiences and buildings and places? You don't even know. And sometimes when I found myself in that place, I honored myself. I stopped trying to force uh, progress when I was at a place where I needed to embrace the break. Let my heart break. Don't let the tears roll backwards. Let them roll forward. Let them out. Release them. Don't try to make yourself not cry. Don't say it didn't hurt. Don't not nurture and protect and soothe that area. It did break and it did hurt, and I am crying. And it is okay because I know who I am. Back to you, Tichet.
Wow, that is amazing. You said something so profound that I don't think I've heard too many people say, where you said you don't force the process, you don't force the progress. I think you said,
Yes,
because a lot of times we keep going and going and going and going in a hurt,
yes,
and
my
we
God.
don't take the time to care for ourselves. We don't take the
Yes.
time to settle down, and that wound that we have, if we don't nurture that,
Mm,
if we don't tend to what
mm,
we really feel about it, and we
mm.
keep going like we're the Energizer Bunny, that's
Yes.
the fastest way to the break. And
Mm,
not
mm,
and you know, when you said break yourself, you said, why would I break myself?
mm,
It's things like that. It's people perish for lack of knowledge.
mm,
You know, they don't know not to keep going. They don't know to, sometimes you got to slow down, let them tears roll. You
yeah,
know, let them tears roll. They
yeah,
don't know, yeah, you fell, but you fell with grace. They don't know that
yeah.
stuff. You said so many powerful things. Another thing that you talked about previously also that goes along with this is having that confident knowing. When you have that confident knowing, um, you know that even if you fell, even if it looked like you fell hardest, you know you were designed to win. You know that when you get back up, there's another life waiting for you. You got to strive towards that thing. You got like if you're swimming towards a finish line or running towards a finish line, you have your eye on that that finish line. You ever seen somebody that did a race? They might did a 4K or 5K, or however you call it, and they might be limping, they might have fell, and then they not giving up. They the last ones on the track, and they're not giving up. But they determined to finish the race. You know, it takes a lot of courage to do that, to have that determination to finish the race. And another thing you talked about, that I want to say, all things, my favorite scripture is all things work together for good for those that love God and are called according to his purpose. That's one of my favorite scriptures, because when you know all things work together for good, when something happens to you, like you said, Dr. Toni, you're not looking at it as you're not looking at it as it happened to you. You're looking at it as if it happens for you. You know that in the end it's beneficial and it's for your good. You know, I've experienced a lot of different heartbreaks, things that I did not know I could recover from. And when you change your perception as far as getting accustomed to thinking that type of thought, this is not happening to me, this is happening for me. So when you go through stuff and you're accustomed to that type of thought, it's not easy to play victim at that time, because you're like, okay, well, how else can I view this? How else can I see this? You know, I remember you used to always say, it's not what you're going through, but how you're viewing it. And at the time of losing everything, I was like, well, how else am I supposed to view it? But see, me asking that question was the beginning of the seeking, because when you ask, you're going to receive. When you seek, you shall find. So when I asked, but how else am I supposed to view this? The loss of everything for me was the birth of the real me. It was the birth of visual encourager. I had to go through that. All that stuff that happened to me happened for me, because it was my entry to being awake. It was my entry to consciousness. It was my entry to being more and greater and having more than I've ever had. It was my threshold to my new life. Losing everything. You would say to yourself, so losing everything was your threshold to your new life? Absolutely. It shaped me. It chiseled my soul. It really built me up, you know, because I had to do under severe circumstances, I was forced to grow. You know, and sometimes you don't call for that stuff. You don't know this stuff is going to happen. And then with that, you were saying you can't control the things you can't control. Why do you focus on the things you can't control? And I say you can't control everything, but you can control how you perceive them and what you think about them. So if somebody does something to you that seemed to have victimized you, maybe they stole something, they did something that, you know, was horrible and would have left your life in shambles. You know, I seen a quote somewhere that said, when they buried me, they didn't know I was a seed. You know, that means they tried to bury you. So what the devil mean for your harm, God mean for your good. So when they tried to bury you, they didn't know that burying you was going to be the reason why you become the greatest you. You know, and so if you look at that circumstance and understand that you can't control, I couldn't control that they buried me, that I didn't ask to be buried. You know, that was horrible that they did such a thing to bury me, but I'm gonna use it to my ability. I'm gonna use it.
That's right.
Yeah, to my advantage. Thank you. I'm gonna use it. You know, and what you said is God ordained or God used. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
God ordained or God used. That type of God purpose or God used. That type of thing, that type of thought when you're going through stuff, hold on to that. Put that on your wall. Write it on little index cards if you got to. Put it on your wall or put it in your phone. Give yourself some reminders. Something that helps you to stay afloat when you feel like you're falling, so that you don't have to fall, crash, and break yourself. You can fall with grace, you know, and then you can get back up and push forward again, you know. And so when you have people that might come in and do these, or have these circumstances that come in and it's unforeseen things that you can't control. You can't control how that went down, but you can control how you perceived it. If you can't control, and see, this just came into me when I said that. It said, if you might not be able to control how you fell down, but you can control the fact that you got up. You can't control how you get up. Don't get up the same. Don't allow yourself to be the same. When you go through a breaking point or something that broke your heart, your language does change. There's some things that you would say that you used to say to yourself that you couldn't even muster up the courage to say to yourself now, once you done built yourself out of that break. Once you start living beyond the break, there's some things you just will not say to yourself that was once acceptable way back when, before the break. It's not acceptable now. I'm not going to sit here and say things like, I hate myself, because I just watched myself come out of something that should have killed me.
Mm,
There's no way in the world I'm worthless now.
mm.
There's no way in the world I'm not powerful now. I watch myself climb, get up, get on top, and have the nerve to lend a hand to help other people pull up. There's no way in the world I could sit there and look at all that I came through and say you're powerful and you're worthless. You have to have that confident knowing that you are of value.
Mm.
And when you have that confident knowing, allow that to lead you and guide you. Beyond the break is where it's at. It's where it's at.
Yes.
See, one of the things I always say is you can't take away the process without taking away the reward. The reward is too great. If you try to take away the process because you regret the process, you're getting caught up in, oh, I wish I shouldn't have did that. They shouldn't have did that to me. And I did, and you go through all the murmuring and complaining. And I've done that, so I'm not judging anybody, I promise. But when you look past all of that and see what you made it through, and you reap the reward of it, and that reward is strong. That reward stands. That reward is amazing. That reward is something to talk about. It's stories and stories and stories you got going on. These are diamonds. You are a diamond. You're not going to look at life as if you were charcoal. You had to go through that pressure. That pressure is what made you a diamond. And now you got to get around other diamonds.
Yeah.
Because nothing can cut a diamond but another diamond. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Great, awesome stuff.
Yes. Beyond the break is the place to be. Attractive Thinkers, we're here to support you in moving forward beyond a break. When you had, like Tichet said, look back over your life and the things that you've come through. There was no way that you could have come through that without the help of God, without your greatness, without knowing who you are, without holding on to your faith, without understanding that if this too shall pass, or you're going to be greater, or it's for my good, it's happening for me and not to me, without having a proper perspective. All of that stuff you went through, the things that I've been through, there's no way on this side of heaven that I could have gone through those things and come out the way that I've come out by myself and in my own strength. I didn't bring me here. Something greater than me brought me to this place. And when you understand that, you get, because I remember in one of my darkest moments when my heart was broken, I said to God, because I was all out. I had no more prayers. I had no more options, no more strategies, no more solutions. I said, God, if you get me through this, I will know for sure that you can get me through anything. I remember saying that to God, and He got me through that. And that's where my faith comes from, because He kept His promise to me. He got me through that, and I'm keeping my promise. I believe that He can get me through anything. See, there's so many incredible things that happen in the midst of a break. Declarations are made, faith is established, essence is discovered, foundations are laid in the middle of a break. Even through your tears and your frustration and your yelling or slamming things or whatever it is, even after all of that, greatness is still speaking on your behalf. Greatness is what's covering you and engulfing you and wrapping you and comforting you and leading and guiding you. That's greatness. And just like a seed, when it's buried in the dirt, Joseph was thrown in a pit. And if you read that story, you see the greatness that resulted from his life as a result of being broken by the people he trusted the most, his brothers, his family. Sometimes our family can break us in areas that nobody else can even come close to, because this is our family. It's a safe place. You're supposed to be able to trust these people, rely on these people, get support from these people. And when you break in an area from people who are so close to you, it can literally destroy you, alter your identity, shift the image that you see of yourself, break your self-esteem, cause you to doubt yourself. cause you to lose hope. But you have to remember, go back and watch some of our other episodes. You have to know who you are before a break happens, because when that foundation is laid, a break can happen all it wants to. But if that foundation is laid, it will not break that foundation. You will not utterly break. You may be broken, but you will not utterly break. You will not literally be broken. You won't be broken at the core. I want you to think about that. How many times in your life you've experienced something around you breaking and you say, oh, I can fix that. And then you've experienced something that broke. You say, oh, let me take a look at it. Oh, wow, this broke all the way through. This broke through and through. I can't fix that. But most of the time, the things that break in your life, you can put tape on it. You fixed it with glue. You stapled it together. You held it together with a piece of string. You decorated it in a different way to show that turn the crack around to the back, so it's not showing in the front. You did a whole lot of things to accommodate the break. And this is what you need to do in your life right now, attractive thinker. Understanding that you may have broken, but you didn't break at the foundation. You're still intact. That means you are still you. God is still God. Life is still moving on, and you will smile again. This too shall pass. You're going to get up again. You're going to get your hope again. You're going to create again. You're going to aspire to live again. You're going to have motivation and inspiration again. It's going to happen again because your foundation hasn't been destroyed. Because the very thing that matters the most is still intact. And that's what we bounce our lives off of. That's our comeback space. A lot of things can break, but don't try to break my core. Because number one, I didn't put my core in place. That comes from a divine place. And it can't be broken. It cannot be broken. And you know what, no matter how much you cry, I remember I was going through some things and I tried to go crazy. You know, I don't even know how to go crazy. You watch movies that, oh, that's how they go crazy, or that's what you do to go crazy. So I just lay there and I cried and I cried and I cried. And the floor was wet and my clothes were wet and my face was wet and everything about me was wet. And I cried to no more tears will come out, just sound. But when I got up, I was still in my right mind. I was like, Dad, I can't even go crazy. I didn't really want to go crazy. I just wanted the pain to stop. I just wanted an escape. So you're talking to people who know what it's like to be broken. We didn't get this from a book. I'm not sharing anything with you that I got from a book. And if I can sit before you going through that kind of break, and I'm sitting before you as a whole, complete, productive woman, the same opportunity is available to you. I'm no different than you. The same opportunity is available to you. You know, Tichet, early on when we started our work together with the Attractive Thinker, actually, we started out as Toni Hatton Productions and we evolved into the Attractive Thinker. I remember you asked me one time, it was a question, we were doing videos, and you asked me one time about how do you keep moving, or how do you keep going, or well, how do you become unstoppable?
Unstoppable.
That's
Yes.
what it was. How do
Yes.
you become unstoppable? And Attractive Thinkers, if you go back to my YouTube channel, you can find that video, how to become unstoppable. But when you asked me that question, it was a very simple answer. Just keep on breathing. Just keep on breathing. The only thing can stop you is the lack of breath. That's the only thing that can stop you. That's how you become unstoppable. Keep on breathing. And sometimes in my darkest hour, whereas I didn't even have the strength to affirm myself like I do every morning. I didn't have the strength to fight for me. But because I knew who I was, I said it in a whisper, just to defy the thing that was defying me. I said, this too shall pass. And I turned over and put them covers right back over my head. I said, oh, I'm going to smile again. Yeah. Refuse to quit. Refuse to go down without a real fight. Refuse to give up who you are and settle for nothing. Mm-hmm. Refuse, attractive thinker. to fall back in line and be mediocre. Refuse to live a life with no expression of who you really are. Don't let the fight, don't let life, don't let the break take the fight out of you. Don't let it take your creativity. Don't let it rob you of your hope. Yeah, when your heart breaks, make sure that hope doesn't fall out of there.
Mm.
Make sure you don't lose your integrity. Make sure you don't lose your creativity and your ideas. Make sure that you don't lose your flow. Those are the most important things that we need in our lives. Back to you, Tichet.
Wow. And you talk about the essence, and the best way to get into the essence of who you are, or anything for that matter, you have to open it up.
Yeah,
It requires it to be open,
yeah,
and experience to me is the greatest teacher.
yeah.
Um, you can learn reading a book if you want to, or listening to somebody, but when you experience something,
Mhm.
like you said, we are not coming from just reading a book and trying to give you cliches and statements and surface advice to make you say,
Yeah,
okay, all things hunky-dory. No, we're
yeah,
not. We have real live experiences,
yeah,
real experiences that we've had to conquer and overcome. you
yeah.
know it's been a teacher, and the
Mhm.
way that it's taught, it's not easily undone.
Yeah,
It's not something I can just fall back on. One of the things when you was talking about refusing something, another thing is refusing to live a life of excuses. There's
yeah.
no excuse to not getting up.
That's right.
If like how you said, nothing can stop you from a lack of breath
Yeah.
in that video. And that was I was listen, when she did that video, how to become unstoppable, I was behind the camera in tears.
Mm.
It was such an amazing video. But nothing can stop you from lack of breath. So if God
Mm.
breathed his breath
Mm.
in your lungs,
Mm.
and you're able to,
Mm.
there's no excuse to stop.
Mm.
There's no excuse to give up.
Mm.
There's no excuse not to get all that you came here to get. And
Mm.
like you said, you're not putting your identity
Mhm.
in man. You're
Yeah.
not putting your identity in a situation, in a circumstance. Your identity is not created from the opinions of others. Your identity comes from the divine. And so when it comes from the divine, that foundation, that's one that can't be rocked.
Yeah.
So when you go through all the things you're going through, like you said, that the foundation stands firm. You could rebuild anything when you do that foundation. But if your foundation is not right,
Mm.
I don't care what you build, it's unstable.
Yeah.
You can build a house of straw, a brick, or hay, whatever. It's not stable. You got to make sure you got that good foundation,
That's right.
and keep striving. But the experience of going through breaking points, and then experiencing life beyond the break. While I was going through stuff, I never would have thought that I would be here. I never would have thought that there were times where like you, I didn't think I was going to smile again. There
Mm.
were times I thought that. Like you, I wanted to go crazy too. But see, when God has put his purpose in
Mm.
you
My
and
God.
you got something to do, and it's no going crazy. You can't go crazy. You got a lot of work to do, baby. You can't go crazy.
That's
I know you
right.
want to for 5 minutes, let yourself have it. But after that 5 minutes, break that. So that you can go
That's
and
right.
live your life beyond that break. You gotta push.
Yes.
There's no
Yes.
excuse for you to fall back,
Yes.
fall backwards first and foremost. Because if we fall forward.
Mm.
There's no excuse. When you let go of the excuses, for
Mhm.
instance, let's talk about excuses. One of the things when I went to the mastermind, you talked about, and we might have shared this on A Mother's Love, I'm not sure,
Mhm.
one of our previous episodes, but you talked about your business, your gifts, your everything, it like being your baby, your vision, your goal, it's like your baby.
Mm.
And you would say that you would never look your baby in the face and say, oh, I couldn't feed you today because
Yeah.
you wouldn't sit there and I remember, you remember that you would
Yeah.
say, you would never sit there and go home, look at your hungry baby in the face and be like, you know what, I can't. You would make it. You would go and borrow. You would go and do whatever you got to do, knock on some doors, find a pantry, do whatever you do. Even if you couldn't feed yourself, you would feed your baby. Because it's not because not feeding your baby is not an option. You're not going to have an excuse. I used to say, when my daughter got out of school, I don't care what was going on in the world. When it came time to pick her up, there was no excuse for why I had to look my baby in the face and say, you know what, I couldn't be there after school because so-and-so asked me, my boss said the appointment did this, there was traffic. I said, if you was going to pull me over, you can pull me over after school, but I'm going to get to my baby. You got to have that kind of determination, you know, when it comes to what you are carrying. And you have a whole purpose in you. Some of you pregnant right now. You have a whole purpose, a business, a ministry. You have all of that. I have an art on visualencouragement.com. I think I have it up there, and it's called Push, and it shows a pregnant woman, and inside the pregnant woman is a baby, and the baby is it is full of words, and the words represent the identity of things like ministry and gifts and talents and purpose and passion and desires and goals. It represented this baby. You are carrying. You are pregnant. And could be that this point where you feel like it's breaking you and you feeling all this pain and it's not pleasant. Could you be in labor? Could it be time for you to push? Could it be time for you to actually give birth to your new life, to who you really are? Give birth to the power, the purpose, and the passion that God placed in you before you was in your mother's womb. Could it be time for you to give birth and actually get to enjoy the manifestation? Because like we always say throughout all these episodes, Toni always said, I'm not going through stuff just for nothing. She say that almost every episode, and she mean that thing. I don't want to give birth. I don't want to be in all this pain and not give birth to nothing. You don't give up in the midst of this. You keep pushing. You keep pushing. You will have to kill me in order for me to give up. I'm not taken down easily. It's going to come with a fight. You best believe that. I come too far to give up so easily, but you will have to literally kill me. But then my spirit will still rise. So I'm going to serve my purpose. And this is why we're here, because all the things that we're creating, there's no way in the world we could ever disappear. This Beyond the Break, this episode, and listen, if you're watching this episode, nothing in your life is coincidental. Nothing. All of it is purposeful. You have to figure out what drew you to this episode or any of the other episodes we have. What attracted you to us to sit and listen this far what we have to say, and then to take notes and then to take it and implement it in your life, and you're liking and commenting and things like that. What made you do that? Because it's not coincidental. But we are here at Beyond the Break. We are constantly pouring out what's in us. We're giving birth on a weekly basis. We're watching each other give birth. I'm telling her to push and then rest. She's telling me to push and then rest. We're watching each other give birth on a consistent basis. You know, we're not going to allow each other to die in the process. But these videos will be here long after we're gone. Long after. They will be here. They will be able to see what we have between us. And Beyond the Break, really, this episode, this is the type of power Dr. Toni and I talk about normally. It's normal. Every time we come together, we feed off of each other, and something comes out and we can take it and do this and shift and do that. We need people in our life like that. We need other attractive thinkers. We need people who want to think, who want to live, who want to thrive, not just survive. People that want to make it beyond the break. And sometimes you might not feel like you have the strength to make it beyond that break, to push past this. You might be feeling like you got to soak in it and you want to let go, but nothing will let you die in it. So that means you got a purpose for it. Even if you felt like you didn't have the strength, this is why having certain people around you, not everybody, certain people, because everybody is not qualified to be in that delivery room when it's time for you to give birth.
No.
Everybody's not qualified. Everybody you told, I'm pregnant, I'm 3 months pregnant, I'm 4 months pregnant, I'm having a girl, everybody that was at the gender reveal, that was at the baby shower is not qualified to be in the delivery room when you are giving birth. That's crucial.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have specific people in your life that knows what you need to say to focus,
Yeah.
what you need to do, what you need, what you know, you might need a helping hand. You know, you might need something to help you visualize your baby and why you're pushing in the first place, so that you don't think that you're going through all this. You don't forget that you're going through this for something. You know, nothing, we don't want anything for nil. We want to get all we have, all that we can get out of this life.
That's right.
And not have all of our pain be in vain. There's no reason to live for your pain to be in vain.
Yes.
I will not die in vain. You hear me? If something, God forbid, happens, my death will not be in vain.
Yeah.
It will speak volumes, I promise you. It will speak volumes. You know, so if you feel like you don't have that strength, connect with us.
Yeah.
We're here. Mm-hmm. We're here to uplift you, encourage you. We're here to give you mental tools and support. We're here to help you shift your mindset. We'll help you. Dr. Toni, on her website, she does shifting from sight to vision, because when you have vision and you can see where you're going, it don't matter how much rain is coming down, you're going to make it through it. Ain't no need to pull over. I can still see. You know, so we have a lot of things. There's a lot of people that's out here that's just like you. There's a lot of people out here pushing and striving and thriving and, you know, trying to get the best out of life that they can get. There's a whole group of people. And so then you look at your current circle of friends and family, and all they're giving off is they're telling you can't, and I can't, and I don't, and all these because and this buts and all this stuff, all the excuses why they can't make the mark. These are not the only people in this world. There's billions of people here. That's right. You can't find one that you can run with, one that can push you when you feel like you don't have the strength. You don't have one that can hold up your arm. That's good. If you don't have one, you clearly have not looked, because they out here. They're out here and they're looking for you. They're somewhere praying, God, please send me a wonderful friend, one that thinks, one that wants stuff, one that wants to be things, one that push, one that will understand my fight, my story, one that will give me back my why when I forgot.
Yeah.
You can find them people out here. They out here. So if you're surrounded by people who don't think like you, you do not have to be. That is by choice.
Yes. Yeah.
Make another decision. Make a firm decision, and make a decision that will help you live that abundant life beyond the break. Yeah. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
Awesome. You know, Tichet, when something breaks, something is born. That's the attractive thinker perspective. When something breaks, something is born. So we prepare ourselves. When it's time to give birth, we're preparing ourselves to give birth for something new to be born or experienced in our lives. And again, it's a process and it's a journey. For example, with a woman in labor, when those pains start coming and hitting her on the right and hitting her from the front and from the back, you know, she's getting up and she's making her way to the hospital. She's on her way to giving birth. She didn't lay. I don't know a woman who's in labor who's going to say, oh, I don't feel good, my back hurt, I'm going to go lay down, I'm getting back in the bed. No, if she's pregnant and she knows her due date and she knows these pains are coming around her due date, she's making her way to give birth. And that's what we want to share with you today. If you're going through a breaking means a birthing attractive thinker. So prepare for the thing that's being birthed in you. The attractive thinker was birthed out of a broken heart, out of a breaking, out of pain, out of disappointment, out of losing everything but myself. Visual encouragement was birthed through a painful process, a defining moment, a breaking, and we're teaching you how to live beyond the break. There is success beyond the break. There is greatness beyond the break. There is self identification beyond the break, self discovery beyond the break. There is self assessment. There is understanding who you are. There is this awareness that you have beyond the break that you don't have without a breaking. When it comes down to levels and dimensions and realms and spaces, we have to break into those. When astronauts get in a spaceship or a rocket or whatever you want to call it, and they're leaving this atmosphere in anticipation of encountering another atmosphere, they have to break through Earth's atmosphere just to get there. It's not a smooth ride. You have to break. You see, a breaking, two things are happening. You're breaking out of something and you're breaking into something. I want you to write that down, attractive thinker. You have to remember that when a break takes place in your life, you're breaking out of something and you're breaking into something. Breaks don't just happen just to break you down. Not when you know who you are. Not when you're on purpose, not when there's greatness inside of you, not when you have a calling on your life. A break doesn't happen just to break you down. It happens to break. Sometimes when we as attractive thinkers hold on to something too long or stay in an area too long and refuse to let go, it has to be a tearing away and a breaking in order to release us to the next level of our lives. Breaks happen for reasons. And they're happening when something is happening for you and not just to you, it's happening for your benefit, for your growth, for your evolution, for your greatness, for your potential. It's releasing something. Just like Tichet always talks about a seed. You know, when you plant a seed in the right environment, it gets what it needs to reach its fullest potential. But take that same seed and plant it in an environment that is not conducive. It is not even equivalent or congruent with what that seed has the potential to become, and it stunts its growth. It never becomes what it could have become because its environment doesn't have the capacity to handle its potential. So there has to be a breaking away. Even with seeds, you start them out. Some seeds, you have to start them out in a pot. You can't plant them in your yard. You have to start them out in a tiny little pot and let them get their roots there. I want you to think about that. And then after they get their roots there, they have to be what? Uprooted. And when you uproot something, you're breaking. There's a breaking away. So that plant, if that plant was a human being, if you said, oh my God, like my roots, I feel my roots coming apart. I'm tearing away at the seams. But that seed knows that that's a part of the process of it becoming all that it could possibly become. It has to be uprooted and planted in an environment that has more room. Maybe attractive thinker where you're planted doesn't even have the room for you to spread your wings and fly, to expand your elbows and, give you some breathing room. And maybe that's where the breaking is happening. A lot of times, and it's possible to view just a growth experience as a breaking, because it feels like a tearing away. You have to leave old environments. You have to leave old relationships. You have to leave old habits. You have to let go of old thoughts. That is a breaking and a tearing away. And you feel that. But as an attractive thinker, when you know why it's happening and you can anticipate the joy and the result and the outcome of what you're going to experience as a result of that, it helps you to get through it a little bit easier. So this beyond the break is about living a victorious. How do you live a victorious life beyond a heartbreak, beyond even a success? Because there's a breaking away of that. Let me tell you the price of success, attractive thinker. There is a price that you pay. There's a breaking away when it comes down to you reaching your goals. Your relationships have to shift and be adjusted. You have to leave some people and you have to make room for other people that can handle the level of success that you just brought into your life. That's a breaking too. So all breaks aren't just bad things that happen to you or things that are not so favorable or things that make you cry. When you accomplish your goal, have you ever accomplished a goal? You got your degree or you got the promotion or you started your business and you're here at opening day and the very people that you thought would support you, they don't even show up. They don't even show up. You got to know how to live on the other side of success. That's a breaking away too. Now, the friends that you had for 25 years can't even support you in this new thing that you just accomplished. That's a breaking. That will break your heart. But it's also a breaking away. It's pushing you. That success that you just accomplished, it pushed you into another realm of your life, into an area where you're forced to create new relationships that support, that can handle where you are right now, that can handle your growth potential. Breaking away from all relationships, that is a breaking. It does hurt, but it's for your good. It's happening for you and not to you.
Yes.
So when we talk about beyond the break, we're talking about living. How do you live a victorious life on the other side of something that broke you down, or on the other side of something that you feel defeated in or has defeated you? We know what that's like. You know, the attractive thinker was birthed, and like Tichet says, I'm known for vision because of an experience that I had. Now I won't say because of an experience that I had, because if you watch some of our other episodes, we are who we are from the beginning.
Yes.
We are who we are from the beginning. You might want to write that down in your attractive thinker notebook. We are who we are from the beginning. The deal is this: we get to points in our lives whereas we discover who we are. I was always a vision expert. I was sent here to shine the light. I'm just in the process. I was in a process, in a journey of discovering that about myself. But I always was that. When I discovered who I was, I also discovered that I always was that person. I always was functioning in that light, always was expressing myself in that way. So it's no surprise to God. It was a surprise to me, but it was no surprise to God. It's all about self-discovery. So when breaks happen in my life, I was always responding as who I was created to be, not even knowing it. You know, it's possible to respond to a break as if you're defeated. But even as an attractive thinker, your defeat looks different. How you see yourself as defeated looks different. And your defeat looks like victory to somebody else. Your defeat, how you see yourself as defeated because of what you went through, or because you didn't get the outcome you were looking for, or something like that. And you say, I didn't win, or I didn't get the outcome, or I failed. That's a big one. I failed. You're looking at it as a defeat, and somebody will come along and say, I am so proud of you. You inspire me so much. Really? Really? Because as an attractive thinker, even your defeat is a win. It's a win. It's a win. It's something you can use. It's something that made you better. It's something you evolved and can grow from. It's something that will enhance your life. It gives you essence. It gives you a story to share along your journey, because you're going to encounter people that need a story. See, stories deliver people. Stories shift perspectives. It gives people a different way of looking at the same old thing. And one of the stories that happened in my life that rocked my world, it made me who I am sitting right here before you today. And it had to do with my firstborn son. It had to do with his eyesight. This is the essence of the attractive thinker, shifting you from sight to vision, because I want to show you that there's another way. There's more than one way to see a thing. There's more than one way to see. And what can get closer to you or affect you more than your children? And when a doctor came into the examination room and says, your son has bilateral retinoblastoma, which is cancer in the retina of both of his eyes, and the only solution, the only way we handle this is to remove his eyes. And he wasn't even a year old. I had just had that baby. He wasn't even a year old. What do? In an instant, my life changed. In an in the blink of an eye, between breaths, between the inhale and the exhale, my life changed. And I'm sitting here with my world spiraling around me, and I'm lost. Who I knew myself as was gone, never ever to return again. My identity just swiped away. But because I knew who I was, I had to ride that wave. My whole hard drive wiped clean. And I had to ride that wave until a new understanding came, because the old understanding didn't have the capacity to handle this mountain that I was facing right here. My old thinking and old habits didn't have the capacity to confront that diagnosis. It didn't have the capacity to support me through this. So my whole hard drive was wiped clean, and I had to learn everything over in a different way. Just like my son, he didn't have both of his eyes removed at the same time. He had the left eye removed in 87 and the right eye removed in 91. But in between pre-K and kindergarten, see, in pre-K he was sighted. The last surgery happened over the summer. He stepped into kindergarten blind. But in between those spaces and those seasons of our life, if you lose sight of who you are, you lose everything. You lose your footing, you lose the direction, you lose your next step, you lose the opportunity, you lose the greatness, you lose who you could become as a result of it. And as a parent, when something is going on with your child, you don't have time to think about you. You don't have time to mourn or to cry or to grieve. You don't have time to think about you. That child needs pampers, it needs to be changed, it needs to be fed, it wants to go outside and play. Because children don't look at these types of things like we do. We're the parent. We're so devastated, and it's crazy, and it broke my heart, and it's the worst thing in the world. And while you're sitting there thinking that, your child walks in the room and says, "What's for breakfast?" With his eye patched up. "What's for breakfast?" What you gonna do? You got to step up to the plate. You don't have time. See, in that break, there was also some enjoyable moments. There was also some gems and jewels that I was supposed to be capturing and gathering along the way. And if you remember me saying this, I think it may have been in this episode early on in our message to Tichet. I said, "God, if you get me through this, then I'll know that you can get me through that." Well, that was the this that I was talking about. And one day, years later, after everything was said and done, and my son went from sight to vision, meaning he lost his eyesight. The doctor had to remove both of his eyes in order to save his life. Years later, he's a music producer, and he's walking through the house. He was a teenager. He could be about 17. He's running through the house, going from the upstairs in his room down to the basement where his studio was, because as soon as he get inspiration, he's got to go record it. And I'm sitting in the living room just minding my business, curled up on the sofa, enjoying my quiet time. And I was thinking about things, had some questions about some things, going through some things. And God let me see him, just his bouncing little self, just bounce on down the step, bounce through the living room, down to the basement. And as soon as he was coming through the living room, I heard a voice say, "You said if I got you through that you would believe that I could get you through anything." And immediately the thing that was on my mind and on my heart, it just went away. And I put a smile on my face and said, "You're right. You did get me through that. You let him walk right past my view and remind me of what you did. And if you did that, I know you're going to do this." Back to you, Tichet.
That is so amazing how he will use the right thing, the right child
Mm,
that you wanted to cry over, to let
mm,
you know he's okay.
yeah.
And I look at his life now, and he's more than okay. And he didn't just get you through
Yeah.
this, he got you through and then some.
Yes.
There was a lot of changes and transitions, and
Yes.
really it all worked together for good. You and your children are amazing and have lived amazing
Oh,
lives,
my,
and out of all of that pain,
my God.
you teach from sight to vision. You teach other people how
Yeah.
to shift from sight to vision, because a
Yeah.
lot of people, they get so caught up in their sight, that they forget it's a vision to be had in the first place.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and I've had the pleasure of watching you many, many years speak into the lives of people. And I've seen these very people come back to, you know, the table, and they would say, you know, this changes everything. This changes my life. I didn't even think to look at something different. I didn't even think that there was another way to look at it. I thought you just had to, you know, how they say, you have to deal with the cards you're dealt.
Yes.
You have to play the cards you're dealt. I didn't know that I could just hand the whole card in and play a different hand,
Yes.
you know, and you played well. You and your children, you guys, you all played well. You know, it really could have rocked you, but
Yes.
again, your core was in place.
Yes.
So
Yes.
your core wouldn't have allowed you to succumb to the defeat of that.
That's right.
You know, and it's so amazing. One of the things you also talked about was that breaking away, and you said that breaking away sometimes doesn't always come from her, even though sometimes it will. But another form of breaking away is also breaking you out of your comfort zone. So we could be sitting there going through life and feeling like we good and we got it like that, and then something comes in that could be the thing that's causing you to grow. Is breaking your comfort zone. You're not growing in this. You know, it's calling you out. My comfort zone is behind the scenes. I am not a in front of the camera type person. I do not like to be seen. I don't. The less people see me, the better I am. So doing this, if this is blessing you, this is me breaking out of my comfort zone and allowing the gift, the power, the purpose, and the passion to come forth, and not giving myself the excuse of, oh, I don't want nobody, I'm just really shy. You know, I don't let those excuses come in. I mean, I had a tons of excuses why I couldn't break from my comfort zone. So when you have your comfort zone, sometimes you want to hold on to that, and the pain is letting go of that.
Yes.
The pain is the letting go of the comfort zone, you know, because you're so accustomed to doing things a certain way, and you're so used to it, so much so that you operate automatically, you know, without even thinking about it. And I feel like every now and again we have to get strategic, because strategy will boost your brain, will boost how your brain operates. You know, when you playing games that require strategy, when you're going through life that requires strategy, this is causing your brain to work. So when you're breaking out of your comfort zone, it's causing you to think different and to look different, you know, and not settle in just everything just being okay. You want things to be better. And see, when with you, with your story, with our stories, we got a lot that out of our stories. We offer a lot that it puts so much in us. It was just building us with jewels, even though we couldn't see. You know, and we had to break out of our comfort zone to let people know, hey, this is what hurt us. So for you to tell your story, that's breaking out of your comfort zone, because we private people, we don't like people in our business like that. I don't like to tell my business, but then when it comes to the power, the purpose, and the passion, I'm not going to allow my need to be so secret or hiding to be my excuse for why I can't do what God called me to do. And so I break out of that, and we break out of that, and we come and we serve the world. But like I said in previous episodes, when you serve your gift, it's double-edged. It's double-sided. You know, you're receiving, they're receiving. It's doing something in you, that is doing something in them. Everybody benefits around. But if you take all of that and just hide it in yourself, and you don't allow it to serve, it's not going to serve you either. And then you're going to forget. Because what you don't use, you lose. If you don't use your brain, you lose it. It becomes the must. You know, if you don't use your body. And then when we talk about breaking away too, I wanted to say, when you are, if you are a muscle builder, if you're a fitness trainer, one of the things that they say, no pain, no gain, you know, when you are building muscle, it is, you have to do stretches and stuff first. Number one, you got to warm up those muscles and open them up. And sometimes that might be okay, but you're about to put your body through, you know, some something that it would consider traumatizing under normal circumstances if you wasn't thinking or having the vision that I'm building muscle. You would think, why are you trying to hurt my arm here? Why are we lifting something heavier than it has to be? You know, you're getting out of your comfort zone in order to put your body through some things that will cause it to break its normal mold and build a different mold. You know, it's not, all of it is necessary. So I just wanted to say that was some awesome things that you have given, and you know, you've given your testimony. She has a lot of stories on the Attractive Thinker YouTube. She has a lot of those videos that will help you and give you some insight on how to break free and how to go forward and how to serve your gift to the world. Because when I came in this thing, I didn't know I had anything to serve. I remember when I came to one of Dr. Toni Mastermind, I was like, I'm just a graphic designer. How I'm going to serve the world through being a graphic designer. And then we came up with being able to create images that speak and grow with you. And that all took place as I was building visual encourager. So it's all serve a purpose. It just matters who you have in your life. It really matters.
It does. It matters. I like that. It matters who you have in your life, because if you have people in your life that can't see your blind spots, can't see you for who you are, don't have vision, then it's going to affect how far you can go in life in that particular circle. Beyond the break, give yourself a fighting chance. Give yourself a fighting chance. Write that down in your Attractive Thinker notebook. Give myself a fighting chance. I want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share it with your circle of influence, your family and friends. Let it go global. Let it go viral, because you never know who really needs to hear this message today on how to live a victorious life beyond the break. When we talk about life beyond the break, I want you to remember, Attractive Thinker, always remember this: you are greater than what you're going through. You are greater than what you are going through. Now, you may have heard that before, but I want you to dissect that one sentence. When you think about something greater, then that means the other thing is less than. So your circumstances are less than you. So if you're greater than your circumstances, you get to dictate, you get to determine, you get to decide, you get to say, okay, you get to discover. So look at them in a different light. Look at your circumstances in a different light and see you as greater than your circumstances. And I don't even have to tell you what decisions to make or how to maneuver or how to get through it. It'll automatically come when you get the right perspective of who you are. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your Break the Cycle specialist at theattractivethinker.guru. Join our Facebook group, our private Beyond the Break group on Facebook, so we can collaborate and conversate about these messages that you're hearing. Leave your comments below under this video so that we can connect with you. Let us know what gems and jewels you're gathering along the way as you listen to these powerful, life-altering moments that we share on Beyond the Break. Tichet, tell our audience how they can stay connected with you.
Yes, you can visit my website at www.visualencouragement.com. I provide mental support for people dealing with depression who desires to lift the heaviness so that they can create a new vision for themselves. You can go to my contact us page, put your information in, let me know how I can encourage you, uplift you, and ignite you so that you can live a life of fulfillment. We're here for you. Again, that's www.visualencouragement.com.
Awesome. And when you visit www.theattractivethinker.guru, I always want to share so you don't forget. Get your 5 videos. Just place your contact information in the box on the home page. Check your email every day for one video. I'm going to send a video out for 5 days every day for you to get some clarity and support and some direction, to shine the light on different areas that may seem foggy to you and you may be indecisive. So make sure you do that. Always remember, Attractive Thinker, our life's work is to make your life better. It is not what you're going through, it's how you're doing it. Think attractively, and we'll see you soon.